Welcome to Flash Fiction from Giant's Reach by Steve Cook. Another quick one this week, and a look back to some of the earlier Flash Fiction I wrote for Giant's Reach. This one takes us to the lizard man-infested country of Judecca, and to an ancient temple where an antiquities dealer has stumbled on something worth quite a lot. In the jungles of Judecca. Johann panted as he ran down the stone corridor, the torch flaring and hissing in his hand. His own footfalls hammered off the walls, his breath rasping in his ear.
"This way! He is escaping!"
In his other hand, the little onyx figurine felt hot, slick with sweat. The walls flashed by, painted with garish murals and decorated with a fortune in gold, as Johann pushed his body harder. Already he felt lightheaded, but the sound of dozens of footsteps behind him was getting closer with every laboured heartbeat. He ran on. He turned a corner, then another. How did the lizard folk find their way around down here? The tunnels under the pyramid seemed to go on for further than the structure itself. Maybe they were connected somehow, the perfectly square tunnels interlinking forever. He barreled around a corner, ducking under some sort of hanging blanket, and almost slammed straight into a wall. It wasn't a tunnel. It was some sort of prayer niche. A stone basin carved out of the wall itself, half filled with greenish water that glistened like oil. 2 lit candles sat on the basin. Their wax melted into thin dribbles that ended in spots on the dusty floor. Frantically, Johann turned to run back the other way, back through the cloth that hung like a short curtain over the niche. But it was no use. He could hear the lizard folk. They were shouting now, their hissing sibilance mingling with the sound of webbed feet slapping against the floor. He slowly retreated from the sound, feeling the basin dig into the small of his back far too quickly. Grasping the torch in both hands, Johann widened his stance and prepared to charge. The sounds of the lizard folk skittered to a stop.
"Wait!"
one of them said. Johann tensed. He could see a section of the corridor under the curtain by the light of his torch. A pair of yellow-scaled feet moved into the light. The taloned toes were wearing a king's ransom in gold rings, and the figure held a club with chunks of obsidian embedded in its head.
"He is in the shrine,"
the voice said, frustration radiating from the words.
"We cannot enter."
A second pair of feet joined the first, these ones blue.
"We must. He has the statue. He defiles our temple and must die." "Darrix, go and find the prelate," the first voice said. "We cannot enter, but they can. The rest of you stand here. He must leave through this tunnel, or not at all."
Slowly, Johann stood straighter. He put the figurine down on the edge of the basin and looked around the niche more closely. He had time. What was in his pockets? Was there a hidden way out? He ran his hands over the wall, but the stone was perfectly smooth, the corners perfect right angles. How had they carved this so precisely?
"Wait," the voice said again. "Pass me that."
Johann only had time to look around before the obsidian-tipped spear was thrust through the curtain, straight into his chest. Icy pain lanced through him, and the torch dropped from his nerveless fingers. He looked down, then up along the shaft. Through the gap in the curtains, a single eye blazed, set in a scaly skull. The lizard folk blinked, nictating membranes flashing across his tall, slender pupil, and then the lizard folk twisted the spear. Johann fell to the side, the icy cold replaced by warmth. black feathers dancing at the edge of his vision.
"Get the prelate,"
he heard, the words seeming to come from a long way away, and Johann closed his eyes. All this over a bit of black rock, he thought, as darkness swallowed him. You've been listening to flash fiction written for my Patreon, Giant's Reach. If you'd like to become a supporter, go to patreon.com/Giant's Reach, where you can find more fiction just like this,